Hey Vipers, today we are going to talk about the staff and clefs and ledger lines and all the cool things that are going to get us ready to read music. So we've already talked about the lines and spaces. This is the foundation for which that all the notes are drawn. The modern staff has 5 lines and 4 spaces, and we number them from the bottom to the top, just like we talked about previously. Every note, line, or space represents a note on a keyboard. So you can see it kind of matching up right here. We also have 2 clefs that we use. We use the treble clef, which is the one on the left. We also call this the G clef because this part circles around the G line. That's for higher instruments. So this would be flute, oboe, clarinet, trumpet, French horn. And then we have bass clef. So bass clef is also called the F clef because it has these 2 little dots around the F line in the bass clef. All right. Bass clef are lower instruments. So this would be trombone, euphonium, tuba, and bassoon. Percussion reads potentially from both. They start off, though, in treble clef, and then I just realized I left out the saxophone, and they read in treble clef as well. So you'll kind of figure out which clef belongs to you, and if that was fast for you, you can just rewind it and keep listening, or listen to it again, rather. So they are the treble and the bass clef again. So here's the treble clef. It's also called the G clef, like I said, and that's because this G, this part right here wraps around the G line. Okay, this is kind of our home base, and what happens is we go through master of the alphabet on every single line or space. So if we go to G, the next letter after G in our music alphabet is A. So the next space would be A. Okay, the next line after that would be the letter B. And then after that, we would have letter C. If you guessed it right, it would be letter C. The third space of the treble clef would be letter C. And this process continues, and you can see how we go straight through our alphabet. Okay, so that second space starts on A, and we just go all the way through. But now at the top, we've kind of run out of lines. So what do we do next? We have this thing called ledger lines. A ledger line allows us to add more notes to the top or the bottom of the staff, but it follows the same process. So if we finished with the letter G, what's the next letter in the music alphabet? It would be A. So that line would become A. The next space above that would be the letter B. Bass clef works the same way, except the lines and spaces are just a little bit different than in the treble clef. The process is the same, though. So here's the bass clef. It's the F clef. And we start with that note F, right, which is in between the 2 dots. Okay, so you can see that this, I know it kind of went fast on you there. This goes through the same process. We have the letter F. After the letter F in the alphabet becomes G, then comes A. And we could keep going with ledger lines up if we want to, or we can start from F and we can go backwards. So we go backwards in the alphabet. On a staff, as music gets higher, it goes up the staff towards the top of the page, and as it goes lower, it goes down towards the bottom. So we go backwards in the master of the alphabet as we go down towards the bottom. So if we start on the letter F here, then if we go down 1 space, it's E, D, C, B, and then A, and it can keep going down with ledger lines just like it did at the top. This is why learning master the alphabet is so important, to be able to say that forwards and backwards. All right, next we have this thing called the grand staff. All right, it's really confusing to look at all those lines. So they actually separate them. See how there's a space here in the middle? And we have our 2 staves like this, or staves. So we have our treble clef on top because it's higher, and our bass clef on the bottom because it's lower. So we've got this C in the middle that connects. If you have played piano before, you've probably heard this called middle C, and that's what connects both staff. So that is how you do it. If you are confused at all, please rewatch the video, and don't worry, we have lots of practice coming up.